morning. I'm here too. Thank you. Supervisor Hahn. Here.
Good morning, everyone.
Thank you. Supervisor Barker. Here. Thank you. Beja Davenport, Chief Executive Officer. Present. Rodrigo Castro Silva, County Council.
I'm here.
Celia Zavala, Executive Officer of the Board. Here. Next, members, I would like to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand and place your right hand over your heart, and we will begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, members. As indicated on the posted agenda, we'll be taking telephonic public comments separately for regular agenda items and for public hearing items during today's meeting. The Executive Office of the Board received over 1,100 written public comments for today's meeting, and as those written comments were received, all of them were available to the supervisors for their consideration, consistent with the Brown Act requirements. We'll continue to receive written public comments throughout the meeting, which will become part of the official record. Madam Executive Officer, please call the agenda.
Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the Board. Today's agenda will begin on page 2, Special District Agendas. This is the agenda for the Los Angeles County Development Authority. Item 2D is an addition as indicated on the supplemental agenda. Item 3D is an addition as indicated on the supplemental agenda. On page 3, this is the agenda for Regional Park and Open Space District. On page 4, public hearings, items 1 through 5. On item 5, the Director of Regional Planning requests that this item be continued to November 2nd, 2021, as indicated on the posted agenda. The remaining items will be held for hearings. On page 7, consent calendar, Board of Supervisors, items 6 through 26. On item 11, Supervisor Mitchell requests that this item be held. This includes a revision as indicated on the supplemental agenda. On item 12, Supervisor Mitchell requests that this item be held. This includes a revision as indicated on the supplemental agenda. On item 18, Supervisor Kuehl requests that this item be held. On item 20, Supervisor Hahn requests that this item be held. On page 25, Administrative Matters, items 27 through 45. On item 27, the Chief Executive Officer requests that this item be continued to December 7th, 2021, as indicated on the posted agenda. On item 31, the Director of Health Services requests that this item be continued to November 2nd, 2021. On item 35, this includes a revision as indicated on the supplemental agenda. On item 36, the Director of Public Works requests that this item be continued to November 16, 2021. However, we will not vote on the continuous item at this time, as Supervisor Mitchell and Supervisor Kuehl request that this item be held. On page 37, this includes miscellaneous additions to the agenda, which were posted more than 72 hours in advance of the meeting, as indicated on the supplemental agenda. On item 43C, Supervisor Solis requests that this item be held. On item 43E, Supervisor Hahn requests that this item be held. On item 43G is a recommendation to adopt a resolution authorizing the issuance of multifamily revenue bonds by the Los Angeles County Development Authority in the amount not to exceed $21 million to finance the construction and development of an affordable housing project in the city of Pasadena. On page 38, Ordinance for Introduction. On page 38, Notice of Closed Session. Items CS1, CS2, and CS3, the Chief Executive Officer requests that these items be referred back. The request for continuances through 43G and the closed session items referred back are before you.
Moved by myself and seconded by Supervisor Mitchell to approve these items with the exceptions noted by the Executive Officer. That will be the order.
That completes the reading of the agenda, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. Members, we have a matter of urgency for the board's consideration, and I'd like to read in the following motion. This is with respect to the enhanced child tax credit that was introduced this year as a part of the American Rescue Plan and has, been a game changer in the fight against child poverty. Millions of children across the country, including many right here in Los Angeles County, benefited tremendously from the ECTC, which provides up to $3,600 per child between the ages of 0 and 17, and is exempt from income requirements for public assistance programs. Before, the ECTC tax credits for children were limited to those families who filed taxes and had higher incomes. The ECTC was designed to be able to specifically include non-filers, families at the very lowest income levels who did not file taxes because of their immigration status or because they did not earn enough money to qualify for both. The new approach to supporting families, as you know, has been transformational, with child poverty reduced by almost 50% nationally, the most significant impact in decades. Recognizing this, President Biden included in his American Families proposal an extension of the program until 2025. Unfortunately, as it is being considered currently in Congress, the ECTC is at a higher risk of being watered down. It was reported in the media that in a thinly disguised effort to reduce the cost, demands are being made that the ECTC include a work requirement and also be means tested. Should this occur, the ECTC will likely retain the increased tax credit, but exclude many of the people that we know need this the most. If funding cuts to the President's plan occur, our delegation should urge their colleagues to look elsewhere than a program that has been transformational in the lives of children. So, members, I therefore move that the Board of Supervisors urge the county's congressional delegation to advocate for the preservation of the enhanced child tax credit as is in the ongoing discussions regarding the President's American Family proposal. I move, therefore, that pursuant to Government Code Section 54954.2, that there's a need to take immediate action that came to the board and subsequent to posting of the agenda. The urgency is moved by Supervisor Ruiz, myself, and seconded by Supervisor Hahn. The motion will be voted on with the remaining consent items following public comment. Thank you. There's no exception. Thank you very much, members. We'll now take public comments for all agenda items, excluding public hearing items 1 through 4. Madam Executive Officer, please read the call-in information that was also provided on the agenda and explain the speaking rules to those members of the public who are calling in to address the board.
As indicated on the agenda, members of the public wishing to offer public comment should call 877-226-8163 and use participant code number 133-6503. To repeat, please call 877-226-8163 and use participant code number 133-6503. Do not call that number if you only want to listen to the meeting. To listen only, please call 877-873-8017 and follow the instructions. To members of the public calling in, when it's your turn to speak, please state your name and which agenda items you wish to speak on. You will have 1 minute to speak on one agenda item or 2 minutes to speak on 2 or more agenda items. In addition, those who would like to address the board with the general public comment will be provided 1 additional minute or a maximum total up to 3 minutes. We will allocate 90 minutes for public comment on all of the items, excluding public hearing items. We will continue to accept all written comments that come in during the meeting, which will become part of the record. When speaking on the agenda, you must be on topic. Our goal is to get through as many speakers as we can. If you're not speaking on topic, or if we cannot tell if you're speaking on an agenda item, you will get 1 warning from County Council or the Chair. If you do not immediately or clearly get on topic, or if you stray off topic again, you will forfeit the rest of your time and the Chair will move to the next speaker. Please note that if you're also listening to the board meeting on a computer or speakerphone, you will need to turn down the volume on those devices as soon as the moderator calls on you. If you do not turn down the volume, there will be an echo. Moderator, may we have the first speaker, please?
As a reminder, to address the board, if you've not already done so, please press 1 then 0 at this time. Do not press 1 and 0 a second time or you'll be removed from the queue.
Thank you. We will now hear the Spanish interpretation of this reminder.
Por recordatorio, para dirigirse a la Junta, si uno lo ha hecho, presione 1 y luego 0 en este momento. No presione 1 y 0 por segunda vez o será eliminado de la fila. Gracias.
Thank you. May we have the first speaker, please?
Our first participant is Helen Giese. Please state the regular agenda items you are addressing today and whether you'll address on general public comment. You may begin.
Hello, my name is Ellen Giese. I'm a resident of District 5, and I would like to speak in support of agenda items 7, 8, 9, 18, 20, 43E, and general public comment. Regarding agenda item 7, renewing our commitment to the Dreamers, I believe very, very strongly in DACA. I think that children who were brought here should not be then kicked out. You know, they did not choose to come here, but they have made their homes here, and it is completely unfair to them to go, well, your parents brought you here, but we're just going to send you back, even though this is potentially the only home you've ever known. This has so many problems to it, I can't even begin to get into it. So anything that helps Dreamers, anything that supports DACA, definitely move it forward. Regarding agenda item 8, and again, increasing support for undocumented individuals, definitely in favor. I thank Supervisor Solis for putting forth this motion. Everyone deserves safe housing. I encourage the board, along with the relevant county departments, in their outreach efforts to consider how many undocumented county residents are reluctant to seek services due to their immigration status. Outreach for these communities must be done in ways that guarantee their safety and completely preclude any involvement from ICE, and genuinely works toward providing safe and stable housing for all our houseless community members. 9 is so straightforward, I can't even begin to imagine how this would not be something you'll be in favor of. Law enforcement has caused so much harm, and the idea that funding to help the people that they have harmed would come from anywhere but their overinflated budget is just unimaginable. So 100% support is 9. 18, I very want to speak mostly on this one. I commend Supervisors Solis and Mitchell for presenting this motion. The Gender Responsive Advocacy Committee has authored a groundbreaking report that lays out specific recommendations for guiding the county's efforts to decarcerate Central Regional Detention Facility and close Men's Central Jail. First and foremost, Los Angeles County must take substantive efforts to release incarcerated persons to return to their communities. This strategy includes targeted diversion strategies, reentry support, and CBO capacity building that focus on cisgender women and two-spirit LGBTQ plus TGI individuals. 42% of those in LA County jails are awaiting trial, and 76% of those in CRDF have the potential to be diverted away from jail and into community-based care. These numbers reveal that decarceration is feasible and necessary. This motion also depicts the much-needed coordination between the relevant LA County bodies tasked with designing and implementing county decarceration policies. It is
Thank you. Your time has expired. May we have the next speaker, please?
I just want to correct the speaker that motion, item 18, was introduced by Supervisor Kuehl and Mitchell. So thank you.
Our next participant then will come from Michell King. Please state the regular agenda items you're addressing today and whether you'll address on general public comment. You may begin.
Good morning. My name is Michelle King. I live in District 1. This morning I'll be speaking in support of agenda items 7, 8, 9, 18, 20, 43, and general public comment, please. On item 20, I support the board prioritizing needs for an alternative to LA County's current law enforcement-dominated crisis response system by presenting this motion to increase recruitment and retention for alternative crisis response positions. I encourage you to ask the Department of Mental Health to prioritize the hiring of community members and building out these response teams. I also encourage the county to create and expand decentralized coordinated service hubs in strategic locations, not staffed by law enforcement, where folks can seek referral or immediate admission 24 hours a day to a spectrum of services that include, but are not limited to, mental health, including psychiatric urgent care centers, supporting housing via coordinated entry systems, and substance use disorder services such as withdrawal management, medicated assisted treatment, and recovery intake centers. In searching for funding to improve recruitment and retention of mental health professionals, the county should reallocate money away from the Sheriff's Department and into community-based mental health models. Lack of funding is no excuse when we are currently allocating $3 billion to the Sheriff's Department and $1 billion to the Probation Department to share. On item 18, as mentioned previously, the motion outlines the numbers that show that decarceration is feasible and necessary. I think it's critical that there's open and transparent communication between the jail closure implementation team and the ETA working group, the ODR, and the GRAC to ensure that the available diversion programs are being utilized and decarceration efforts are swift and coordinated. And item 9, I think this is important first step in righting the wrongs that families have faced at the hands of LASD. All the families affected by the death of a loved one at the hands of LASD deserve both support and the complete eradication of sanctioned murder. The process for them to receive financial support should be as simplified as possible. The last thing they need to be is re-traumatized by a system that doesn't care for them. The county has no problem finding enough funding for the Sheriff's Department, so let's use some of their budget to fund FAP. When LASD can't do their job without killing folks, we taxpayers are bearing the brunt of their misconduct. It's unconscionable that we live in a reality that the county has to provide assistance for families of people killed during encounters with the county department. The only way to hold LASD accountable is by giving them less funding and shifting county priorities to community-based to the community, prioritizing a care first budget. Let's eliminate this violence completely. If we end the violence, we don't need a family assistance program. On item 8, everyone deserves safe housing. On item 7, all immigrants should have access to care. We must support all Angelenos and support this litigation challenging the end of DACA. It is long overdue. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. May we have the next speaker, please?
Our next speaker will come from Maria Brenes. Please state the regular agenda items you're addressing today and whether you'll address our general public comment. You may begin.
Good morning. I am speaking in favor of item 43C. I am the Executive Director of Inner City Struggle. We are a community-based organization in the east side of Los Angeles. I want to thank Supervisor Solis for your leadership in bringing forth this important motion. I urge the board to support this important item in the spirit of accountability and transparency. Again, please support item 43C. Thank you.
Thank you. May we have the next speaker, please?
Our next speaker will come from the line of Roy Humphreys. Please state the regular agenda items you're addressing today and whether you'll address on general public comment. You may begin.
Okay, the items 7, 8, and the general public comment. Just on 7 and 8 and others related to that, that the county doesn't have the right or privilege of subverting the laws of the United States of America, of which they did this pledge at the beginning of the meeting with their sanctuary aspect as far as immigration goes, and then to plead the case that they are law-abiding citizens of the United States of America. And as to a general comment, we are surrounded by failed leadership, which I've just mentioned, from your failure to widen Fullerton Road, allowing the Fullerton and Fairway underpasses to be bungled, tearing down Twin Towers without a replacement, and being in denial of the criminal justice system, and the crown jewel, failure to fully automate the ports at warp speed while the rest of the civilized world has followed, and by failure to implement emergency intervention on the 100 ships floating in limbo land. Resignations are in order. Thank you.
Thank you. May we have the next speaker, please?
And as a reminder, if you wish to address the board, please press 1 and then 0 on your touch-tone phone. Do not press 1 and 0 a second time or you'll be removed from the queue. Our next participant will be Hans Johnson. Please state the regular agenda items you're addressing today and whether you'll address on general public comment. You may begin.
Good morning, board members, and I'm Hans Johnson, president of the East Area Progressive Democrats, the largest Democratic club in Los Angeles and in California. I'm here to speak in support of item 43C and commend Supervisors Solis and Vargas for bringing this motion forward in such a timely and important way. This resolution aims to ferret out any additional wrongdoing or motions or actions taken by county supervisors or staff for self-enrichment purposes, and it is aimed at restoring trust and faith in our democracy and in public service here at the county level. Whether unfounded claims that governance cannot work in a democratic fashion come from a rogue county official with a badge or with misinformed or deluded county residents making unfounded claims that border on or participate in insurrection, we need to restore faith in our democracy. This important resolution helps establish public trust and goes a long way towards rebuilding faith in the value of our participation in self-governance. I commend this resolution on behalf of our members for the supervisor's consideration and passage today. And once again, wish to thank the timely action of Supervisor Solis and Vargas in bringing it forward. Thank you.
Thank you. May we have the next speaker, please?
Our next participant will be Julie Martinez. Please state the regular agenda items you're addressing today and whether you'll address on general public comment. You may begin.
Good morning. I will be addressing items 7 and items 9. Thank you, Supervisor Cruz, for this motion to show the county support for Dreamers. I wish there would be more in the national level. But the focus of my comments will be on item 9. My family was a victim of a police killing. My grandson is Paul Rea, and he was shot at a routine traffic stop. The horror and the sadness and the terror of understanding such an untimely death in such a criminal manner is bad enough. But what happens after to the family is just compounds the pain that the family does experience. So this motion, I believe, will address most of the concerns of families who are victims of police murders and police violence. The Sheriff's Department holds an incredible amount of power. He's the largest sheriff in the nation, and unfortunately, you as a board continue to fund and give him unfettered access to what I call our police toys and things that are ultimately used against the community. But his power did not stop after the unlawful shooting. As we know, the former DA refused to prosecute any type of sheriff violence or murders. But what was worse is the harassment that continued. The weekly and sometimes daily visits by the sheriff parking outside, driving by, making comments, laughing, showing up at the memorial site, showing up at the funeral, laughing, slowly driving like they're gang members, and making comments and gestures with both their hands and their faces. What's important is these families do need counseling, and they do need some financial support. So I'm very, very grateful. Supervisor Hilda Solis, from the bottom of our family's heart, we are extremely grateful, and we are hoping that the entire board will please vote for this. Sheriff Villanueva identified us as gang members who go to the memorial site. I hold a master's degree from UCLA. I can attest that we are not gang members.
Excuse me, your time has expired. May we have the next speaker, please?
Thank you.
Our next participant will be David Strix. Please state the regular agenda items you're addressing today and whether you'll address on general public comment. You may begin.
Hi, good morning. My name is David Strix, and I'd like to address 3D and general public comment. My main comment is regarding the fact that the businesses need more relief programs. I am a attorney that represents commercial landlords, and myself am a commercial landlord. The main problem that we are talking about today is the commercial protection resolution that was adopted by the board on the 28th. And we all understand that we're experiencing a pandemic and that we all are required to help share the burden. But the commercial landlords are carrying a major portion of the burden alone. There are many commercial tenants that are suffering a loss of income and they need help with their rent payments, and we understand that. But there are other tenants that are doing well. They're not paying the rent because they're not required to. Landlords, pursuant to the protection program, that resolution that was adopted last month, are required to accept the tenant's self-certification that they are unable to pay rent. Many tenants qualified and received PPP funds. Restaurants received revitalization funds. Commercial landlords don't qualify for PPP and haven't received any other government funds. Residential landlords have a state program whereby they waive 20% of the rent. The state will pay 80% of the rent. Commercial landlords have no such programs available. The county moratorium allows tenants not to pay rent, but last December 10th, last April 10th, and this coming December 10th, the county still requires landlords to pay property taxes. The burden placed on commercial landlords is unfair. Commercial landlords are not sharing the burden. They are carrying an unfair share of the burden. They need programs to help them also. Thank you very much for allowing me to speak with you, and thank you very much for doing a wonderful job running the County of Los Angeles. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you. May we have the next speaker, please?
Our next participant will be Genevieve Cleverenu. Please state the regular agenda items you're addressing today and whether you'll address on general public comment. You may begin.
Hi, please begin. Can we have the next speaker, please?
Our next participant will come from the line of Eric Previn. Please state the regular agenda items you're addressing today and whether you'll address on general public comment. You may begin.
Yeah, it's Eric Previn from Studio City. Can you hear me? I'll speak on several items, including 43C and a variety of items. Okay? And you're in a general public.
Yes, please begin. Please begin.
Okay. Thank you. Well, first of all, congratulations on the closed session that you'll be having. I can imagine that it will be an interesting conversation. And obviously, it was a bit of a shocker to a large percentage of the 11 million residents in the county that there was potentially wrongdoing at the county level, wherein a supervisor was kind of squeezing an academic institution, a USC, to get favors for his lad, who was a slightly tarnished state assembly man looking for a comfy place to land. And, you know, it's shocking. It's shocking beyond belief to many people. To me, it's not shocking at all because I'm a close watcher of the activities of the Board of Supervisors, and I've seen, you know, a lot of benefiting people who you're connected to on the outside, although you're not overtly in business with. But that's where the overt acts in a federal indictment are so relevant, and how they were able to see the kind of quid pro quo that takes place all the time, which is why it's so unfair in a way that I talk about the county policy of equity. Why should Mr. Ridley Thomas face the music when, you know, Sheila Kuehl and her friends at Liberty Hill and Hilda Solis, and there's just a myriad of treasured partners, many of whom walk seamlessly right in and out the door. So it doesn't seem fair, but we have to remember the why. We have to remember why this happened. And the reason, I think, is because people who stay for a long time, like Sheila and Mark, become mad with power. They become so powerful and influential that they can't see the difference between what's right and what's possible. And anything is possible when you run such a large operation, and when you realize that only a few people can point to the problems and show what's wrong. The only possible choice is the one that you've worked on in a conspiratorial manner, apparently with George Gascon and Sharon Wu, who won't even come to the phone, the DA, about by denying public access to these meetings, by saying, Mr. Previn and, you know, Dr. Cleverell and the other people who do take the time out of their own lives to pay attention, to speak up and say, hey, take a look at that procurement for rental cars. That's not appropriate to be going to the supervisor's son. That was not Sebastian, that was Matt Knabe, who was the lobbyist for Englander, Knabe and Allen, and still is. And there's items on your agenda even today that reflect the kind of legacy of dealing. Diamond Bar Golf Course today. You have a hearing on that. We'll talk about it during public hearings. The golf contracts were effectively stolen by lack of RFP. And so this goes on night and day. And
Excuse me, your time has expired. May we have the next speaker, please?
Our next participant will come from the line of Hana Carr. Please state the regular agenda items you're addressing today and whether you'll address on general public comment. You may begin.
Hello, I'm Dr. Hana Carr from Harbor UCLA, and I'm speaking on public comment. As a delegate from our Committee of Interns and Residents Union, I'm again asking County to negotiate our salaries and not ask us to roll over our contracts for 6 months. We are actively recruiting our next class of resident physicians. We need to show these potential future colleagues why working for the county is worth it. Currently offering $10,000 to $15,000 less than neighboring programs in the same city is a hard sell to our top applicants. We are a vaccinated group of hardworking doctors ready to continue working despite staffing shortages rolling out this week due to the vaccine mandate, which for the record we do support. Please take care of us so we can continue to take care of county's most vulnerable patients. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. May we have the next speaker, please?
As a reminder, if you wish to address the board, if you have not already done so, please press 1 then 0 at this time. Do not press 1 and 0 a second time or you'll be removed from the queue.
Thank you. We will now hear the Spanish interpretation of this reminder.
Como recordatorio, si uno lo ha hecho, presione 1 y 0 por segunda vez o será eliminado de la fila. Gracias.
Thank you. May we have the next speaker, please?
Our next participant will be Lorenzo Gonzales. Please state the regular agenda items you're addressing today and whether you'll address on general public comment. You may begin.
Hi, my name is Dr. Lorenzo Gonzales. I'm a family medicine physician at Harbor UCLA, a member of CAR SAIU, and I will be addressing public comment. 2 weeks ago, we came to garner support to improve the lives of frontline resident physicians of LA County. And I want to thank Supervisor Mitchell for your support and Supervisor Solis for agreeing to meet with us. As we start to see the impacts of the vaccine mandate, resident physicians are called up again to meet the deficits from those reassigned. That means increased urgent care loads, potentially unsafe waiting rooms, 12-hour ER wait times, and possible diversion. This is all too similar. Last year, we risked our lives during the pandemic. We met the needs asked to us by our county. We did our part. Now we ask for the CEO's office to show its respect through our contract. They don't. Now we ask DHS to show its respect through our contract. They don't. These are the actions that make county-trained physicians want to leave our system. A system that is a beacon of hope for all Angelinos, for all those marginalized. But for how long? Our message is not new. Our frontline physicians are exhausted and frustrated. But we are here again today to reinforce the message that we need a fair contract now. We need your support, Supervisors Khan, Kuhl, and Barger. We need your support now more than ever. Thank you.
Thank you. May we have the next speaker, please?
Our next participant will be Troutie Winters. Please state the regular agenda items you wish to address today and whether you'll address on general public comment. You may begin.
Good morning. I'm Troutie Winters, the Executive Director for the National Alliance on Mental Illness, Greater LA County. I'll be speaking on agenda items 20, 43E, and general public comment. On behalf of NAMI Greater LA County, we support Agenda Item 20, Enhancing Recruitment and Retention for Mental Health Field Positions. There is a need for increased field-based mental health support and less reliance on law enforcement for unhoused individuals and people experiencing a mental health crisis. To address DMH having difficulty recruiting and retaining the field-based mental health workforce, NAMI GLEC supports looking at options to improve recruitment and retention of field-based mental health positions, including reclassifying positions or developing new classifications for mental health professionals and paraprofessionals on PMRT, MET, HOME, and FSP teams. We support relaxing background checks for peer specialist positions for those who are now ready and willing to use their lived experience to make a positive contribution to our communities. NAMI GLAC supports peer certification as specialists and believes that they can serve an important role for treatment and recovery. And we support incentives to address the shortage of psychiatrists willing to work in field-based public sector positions and incentives for positions on PMRT, MET, home, and FSP teams, and feel it's important to have clinical response available 24/7. We are also calling to support Agenda Item 43E, pursue an agreement with Metro to provide mental health crisis response. NAMI GLAC supports the Director of Mental Health in coordination with County Council to work with Metro in negotiating an agreement for DMH and Metro for the execution and operation of co-response teams and psychiatric response team services. We support mental health professionals utilizing de-escalation tactics and shifting responsibility to DMH, including using mobile crisis response teams and away from law enforcement where appropriate. Thank you.
Thank you. May we have the next speaker, please?
Our next participant will be Brea Fisher. Please state the regular agenda items you're addressing today and whether you'll address on general public comment. You may begin.
Hi, everyone. My name is Dr. Brea Fisher, and I am a resident in the Department of Obstetrics and Gynecology at LACUSC Medical Center. I'm also a member of CIR-SEIU, and I'm calling to provide general public comment for support of CIR bargaining efforts. I came to Los Angeles from the Midwest for medical school, and when it came time to choose where I would train for my residency, LACUSC was my number one choice. It wasn't because of the salary. Many places offered better pay in cheaper markets, or for the prestige. It was about the patients I would get to serve and the colleagues I wanted by my side along the way. The Angelinos we take care of, regardless of income, insurance, or immigration status, have been some of my greatest teachers and continue to bring joy to even my hardest days. The residents I aspired to be as a medical student, and who I am now honored to call co-residents, are some of the most brilliant, dedicated, and altruistic people I've ever met. To continue to deliver world-class medical care with what I've come to know as a county heart, we need a contract that adequately values our service, expertise, and the tens of thousands of hours we spent training to care for our patients the way we do every single day. Thus far in negotiations, I've been sorely disappointed by the lack of preparedness on behalf of the county's bargaining team and their unwillingness to even discuss compensating us at levels comparable to other programs in the same city. This has made me seriously question whether the county understands just how much it relies on CIR's residents and fellows to provide for the medical needs of the people of Los Angeles.
Excuse me, your time has expired. May we have the next speaker, please?
Our next speaker will come from the line of Kristika Santanam. Please state the regular agenda items you're addressing today and whether you'll address on general public comment. You may begin.
Thanks so much. Good morning. This is Kristika Santanam, Executive Director of the National Lawyers Guild of Los Angeles, calling in support of Agenda Item 9. The National Lawyers Guild released a report earlier this year in collaboration with our community partners detailing LAFC's targeted harassment of grieving family members whose loved ones were murdered by sheriff's deputies. In this report, we emphasize the need to support families experiencing the sudden and violent loss of a loved one through the Family Assistance Program. This program needs to be adequately funded and reimagined in partnership with local community organizations and trusted community-based resources so that grieving families can receive the financial, legal, and mental health support they justifiably deserve. The Guild would like to thank Supervisor Solis for prioritizing the SAP and introducing this critical motion to ensure that this program receives sustainable funding and becomes a permanent, established county program that can effectively serve the families and individuals who have been terrorized by LASD's ongoing violence and corruption. Thanks so much.
Thank you. May we have the next speaker, please?
As a reminder to address the board, if you've not already done so, please press 1 then 0 at this time. Do not press 1 and 0 a second time or you'll be removed from the queue. Our next participant will be Jody Peroda. Please state the regular agenda items you're addressing today and whether you'll address on general public comment. You may begin.
Good morning. My name is Jody Peroda, and I'm calling in to express support for agenda item number 20, the motion related to enhancing recruitment and retention for mental health field positions and to provide general public comment. I'm the new executive director of the Association of Community Human Service Agencies, or ACSA, whose membership includes 89 private nonprofit organizations providing human services in LA County. I'd like to thank Supervisor Hahn and Supervisor Vargas, as well as Supervisor Michell through her separate motion, for recognizing and addressing the unprecedented workforce crisis impacting the mental health system today, resulting in serious access issues for clients and communities with no clear end in sight. For providers to make it through the current crisis, we believe that there are two pathways that must be addressed. The ability of providers to pay competitive salaries to their staff and to foster positive and fulfilling experiences for them. There are several compounding stressors on provider workforce salaries today, as we see school districts, HMOs, private practice, and online telehealth networks increasingly and aggressively draw staff away from the public mental health system at alarming rates as the demand for services in the system continues to grow. While competitive salaries attract qualified individuals to providers and support their retention, we believe it is equally important that mental health staff have positive and fulfilling experiences that lead to their longevity in positions and allow them to engage in the mission-driven work that brings them into the CBO community. This includes the reduction of the massive and cumulative clinician paperwork burden, largely driven by the state, dramatically drawing clinicians away from direct client care, as well as the exploration of other flexible and innovative solutions for retention. It is our sincere belief that the competitiveness of salaries and the job satisfaction of frontline staff must be addressed in order to recalibrate the system, to respond to the current workforce crisis, and to allow clients to receive the high quality and accessible mental health services that they deserve. On behalf of ACHSA, I support this motion. Thank you.
Thank you. May we have the next speaker, please?
Our next speaker will come from the line of Francisco Juarez. Please state the regular agenda items you're addressing today and whether you'll address on general public comment. You may begin.
This is a general public comment of an urgent nature. Please take this matter seriously. Thank you, Chairwoman Supervisor Solis, for the recognition of our NHDVS coalition at the East LA Plaza Wellness Day event. This is a continuation of that truth move. Brentwood News this morning, quote, encampment update, the San Vicente cleanup is progressing as planned through the LASD host process, and the full cleanup is set for November 1. Multiple housing and shelter options are offered. The effort is being managed in a compassionate manner and in compliance with various court rulings. As a society, we celebrated Hispanic Heritage Month and Black History Month. Did you know, supervisors, that November is referred to as Veterans Month? Your serious recommendation as a body to the DVA, that's the Department of Veterans Affairs, that it too be compassionate in this matter will help here. We are certain that members of the Sheriff Villanueva's host effort, case working with the residents of Veteran Row, outside of the fence line at VA West LA, know that. Their work is not complete. We know that the mean-spirited veteran special interests have influenced using county public works to disingenuously clear out Veteran Row on November 1st, 2021, whether host work is correctly done or not. DVA won't admit it, but the Veteran Row has facilitated sheltered entitlements for hundreds of veterans from across the nation who migrate to the fence line.
Your time has expired. May we have the next speaker, please?
Thank you.
Our next speaker will come from the line of Dr. Michael Dalman. Please state the regular agenda items you wish to address today and whether you'll address on general public comment. You may begin.
Hi, yes, this is Dr. Michael Dalman. I'm speaking in favor of agenda item 20 plus general public comment. Thank you for the entire Board of Supervisors for your ongoing support of the mental health system. I'm grateful for your recognition of the behavioral health staffing crisis. Thank you, Supervisors Hahn and Vargas, for the motion to enhance recruitment and retention for mental health field positions. I'm a licensed clinical psychologist and vice president of NK Health Services. I have worked in the DMA system for 23 years, the last 6 happening. I've been involved with SSP since the transition from AB 2034. We thought we would be recovering from the impact of the pandemic at this point. However, the last wave of the pandemic brought a massive number of staff resignations. Historically, we service over 5,000 clients every year.
We have lost over 25% of our workforce and are projected to serve 1,000 fewer clients in fiscal year 21-22. Throughout the pandemic, our FSP teams provided client care in their apartments, boarding cares, parks, and on the streets for our homeless consumers. This was done at great personal health risk, especially before the vaccines were available, because serving and providing care to our clients is what we do. But this dedication to service has come at great cost. Burnout, trauma, and feelings of overwhelm felt by everyone during these last 19 months were amplified for clinical teams helping clients in psychiatric distress. We're also fearful of getting sick and dying from COVID. As legal entity providers, our clinician salaries are competitive with each other. However, we cannot come close to what Kaiser, GMH, and many of the new venture capital-funded private practice groups offer as salaries. With our current contracts, we cannot compete with employers that pay upwards of $30,000 more per year for newly licensed clinicians. We're also now competing with LAUSD as they plan to hire hundreds of clinicians. If the situation does not change significantly, we're projected to bill $7 million less this fiscal year than in previous years. Our services are down 24% from previous years due to the massive staffing exodus. Our PICO Union FSP team turned over entirely in the last 6 months. Our Boyle Heights Clinic lost 11 clinicians in the last year. Recruiting is so slow that even with a sign-on bonus, we still only have 3 clinicians at that clinic. Our FSP program in Commerce is down 40% on staffing, with staff caseload ratios of 25 to 1 when they should be 10 or 12 to 1 for FSP. We are robbing Peter to pay Paul, having outpatient staff help with coverage since the need for services is so tremendous. Our La Puente FSP team is down 31%, and we have had to reduce our slots by 30%. I have heard Dr. Sharon speak passionately about the need for true parity between behavioral health and physical medicine. I'm in total agreement. We must do something substantial now. One of the clinic managers that oversaw our FSP program had been with the company for many years. She was overwhelmed by the stress of overseeing FSP and left to work at Kaiser with a salary increase of over $16,000. State projections show that the behavioral health workforce will continue to decrease through 2028. To keep our clients safe and meet the mental health needs of our communities, we must stop the clinical staff hemorrhaging now. In the short term, I hope providers are allowed to bill over the CMA so we can keep our clinics open and pay higher wages while we work towards behavioral health parity. As a system, we must find more mechanisms.
Excuse me, your time has expired. May we have the next speaker, please?
Our next participant comes from the line of Rolando Chavez. Please state the regular agenda items you wish to address today and whether you'll address on general public comment. You may begin. I apologize, they've dropped. Our next participant will be Sean Paul Jones. Please state the regular agenda items you're addressing today and whether you'll address on general public comment. You may begin.
Hi, my name is Dr. Sean Paul Jones. I'm a resident in the Department of Internal Medicine and Pediatrics at LAC-USC Medical Center. Here to have a public comment. I'm also a member of the Committee of Interns and Residents, and I want to support their bargaining efforts. As some of you may know, fourth-year medical students all over the country have submitted applications for residency positions, which means that we at LA County are actively in the process of recruiting new resident positions. I myself have benefited greatly from the fact that my co-residents are amazing, caring human beings who are willing to go the extra miles for the communities that we serve. I want to continue to be able to say this, and that requires recruitment of a strong resident workforce, but that's quite difficult without a fair contract. We go the extra mile for our patients and for this institution as a whole. Is it too much to ask for the institution to do the same for us? Please work with us in our attempt to establish a fair and humane work contract. Thank you.
Thank you. May we have the next speaker, please?
Our next participant will be Helen Jones. Please state the regular agenda items you're addressing today and whether you'll address on general public comment. You may begin.
Yes, I'm speaking in favor of item 9 and public comment. And I'd like to say thank you to Supervisor Solis for bringing this motion for the Family Assistance Program. I'm the mother of John Horton, who was murdered and beat to death in solitary confinement in Men's Central Jail by 3,000 Boys Deputy Sheriff Gang. And after the beating death of my son, John Horton, me and my family was left in shock. We was left to suffer with no assistance. And if we had no assistance with burial, we had no assistance with mental health services, we had no assistance with nothing. That's why this program, the Family Assistance Program, is very, very important for the families, because over the last 12 years, I have watched family after family go without no assistance, not knowing how they're going to bury their kids, even after they had to still pay rent, suffering, while they suffering in shock after their family, their babies being took from them and stolen from them by the sheriff's department. And after they had to deal with all this pain and then still had to come up with burial money, you know how much it costs to have a funeral for your child today or to bury your kids? I would never, ever, ever want to see another mother go through this ever again. So for you guys to be bringing a family assistance program for the family, you wouldn't know how many lives you would be saving, how many mothers you would be saving for so much heartache, to be having to still bury their kids after the kids being stolen from them by the sheriff department like my baby. So I just please urge this board to support item 9, and please make this a family assistance program available for the families, because nobody, I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy. I wouldn't wish this on nobody. So please make this a family assistance program for the families, because it's not fair for us to go through this after the sheriff department being able to just walk away after beating, killing our kids and shooting our kids down in the street, and there's no assistance for the family members. So I thank you for listening. Thank you so much.
Thank you. May we have the next speaker, please?
And as a reminder, ladies and gentlemen, if you do wish to address the board, please press 1 then 0 at this time. Do not press 1 0 a second time or you'll be removed from the queue. Our next participant will come from the line of Morgan Courier. Please state the regular agenda items you're addressing today and whether you address on general public comment. You may begin.
Good morning. My name is Morgan, and I'm with the Committee of Interns and Residents at CIU. I'm here to give public comment. I want to support our LA County resident physicians who are currently fighting for a fair contract. As a constituent of East LA, I believe strongly that these physicians perform a critical service to my community, and they deserve a contract that acknowledges the sacrifices they make every single day, especially during the COVID pandemic. We know counties on the verge of a staffing shortage due to unvaccinated staff, but these physicians are vaccinated and they're ready to work. But they're stretched thin, they're tired from working 80 hours a week, they're deep in debt and desperately trying to recruit top physicians to our hospitals, as many have already shared today. I urge you to prioritize this contract so our physicians can focus on what they do best, which is taking care of my community. Thanks so much.
Thank you. May we have the next speaker, please?
Next with a line of Patricia Gostales. Please go ahead.
My name is Patricia Gostales. I'm calling in support of item 20 and offering general public comment. I'd like to first thank Supervisors Hunt and Berger for putting forth this motion and the entire board for hearing me today. I'm a licensed clinical social worker and the Chief Executive Officer of the Guidance Center, a contracted legal entity of the Department of Mental Health. We serve 3,500 children and families each year in Districts 4 and 2. Of note, we are the only county-involved provider routinely serving Catalina Island. We serve the most severe cases in the county outpatient system, including FSP and MAC, a program of specialized foster care. The recruiting and retention struggles currently facing the safety net mental health system are unprecedented, unlike anything I've seen in my 30 years working in the county legal entity system. Any retention struggles the county itself is facing is being felt multifold by the legal entities. Contractual issues keep legal entity clinical salaries between $20,000 and $30,000 lower than entry-level salaries of county directly operated therapists, even though legal entities offer the majority of the FSP services. We are losing clinicians to school districts and HMOs where clients are less severe, services are clinic-based, but salary rates are considerably higher. As clinicians leave the county system, vacancies are increasingly difficult to fill. Any prolonged staff vacancy means that children, families, and individuals who need and are eligible for mental health treatment are not getting it. We see more need than ever for behavioral health care as we emerge from the pandemic crisis, with higher than ever levels of psychiatric acuity. Increasingly, we do not have the staff to offer treatment, especially field-based care. This human resource issue has the very real potential to create serious access problems across our system of care at a time when the need is greater than ever. I strongly support any review and identification of solutions to these issues and encourage the county to ensure that legal entities have a voice at that table. We are on the forefront of service provision and ask for the board's assistance in keeping our agencies fully staffed and open to the clients who need us. Thank you.
May we have the next speaker, please?
Our next participant will come from line of Stephanie Luna. Please state the regular agenda items you're addressing today and whether you'll address on general public comment. You may begin.
Good morning. My name is Stephanie Luna. I'd like to speak in support of agenda items 7, 9, and general public comment. On agenda item number 7, I'd like to commend Supervisors Solis and Chao for bringing this motion before the board. The board must do everything in its power to protect the DACA program, seeing as how LA County is home to the largest number of dreamers in the county. On agenda item number 9, the permanent support for family assistance program, this is a very important motion brought forth by Supervisor Solis. Families who have been affected by the death of a loved one at the hands of the sheriff deserve support at the very least. As a family member who has experienced this firsthand when my nephew Anthony Vargas was murdered by 2 East LA Sheriff Bandito gang members in 2018, we learned very quickly that there are no resources for those who have lost loved ones to other types of violence, but there's nowhere to go for those who have had their loved ones murdered by law enforcement. We don't qualify for certain types of funding or services because our perpetrators wear a badge, because the ones who have inflicted the trauma on us and continue to inflict the trauma on us wear a badge. We deserve compassion and trauma-informed responses from community-based service providers who work in mental health, grief counseling, trauma support, any other services that families might need, and who most importantly have absolutely no ties to law enforcement. The process to apply should be as simple as possible or have people in charge who can take the lead and ensure that these families aren't left to be re-traumatized. Finding a sustainable funding source for the family assistance program is essential because there are families who, as we speak, are having car washes and GoFundMe accounts set up to pay for the cost of their loved ones' funerals. Families who are still trying to process the murder of their loved ones by law enforcement and grief are struggling to lay their loved ones to rest, all while the sheriff's budget continues to increase. Families are left to search on their own for community-based mental health services, and some struggle to pay for these services, all while the sheriff's budget continues to increase. The fact that we live in a time where there are so many murders and so much trauma being inflicted by the sheriff's department that this program even has to exist in the first place is entirely disturbing. We shouldn't have this many families needing support because of the continued misconduct and harassment. It's time to hold the sheriff's department accountable by giving it less funding and shifting the county's priorities to the communities. Thank you.
Thank you. May we have the next speaker, please?
Our next speaker will come from the line of Lauren McConnell. Please state the regular agenda items you're addressing today and whether you'll address on general public comment. You may begin.
Good morning to the... Hello, please continue. We can't hear you. Oh. Can you hear me now? Yes, we can hear you now. Start your time over.
Okay. Sorry. Hi, my name is Lauren Nakano. I'm speaking on behalf of the Beach Cities Health District in support of items 20 and 43E and public comment. Beach Cities Health District has elevated mental health as a critical health priority as we emerge from this COVID pandemic, and the mental health of our residents is as critical a public health crisis as COVID has been. We hear this consistently from our schools, our businesses, employers, and public agency partners. Our school partners support enhancing recruitment and retention for mental health field positions, as they have frequently mentioned the challenges of calling the MET and PMRT teams and have had to wait 4, 6, or even 8 hours, not being able to access a team to do an evaluation sometimes until the next day, or having the PET and the PMRT teams having to go to the student's home, which might be the source of the crisis or conflict. 3 of our school districts are actively looking at on-call mental health crisis responder models to alleviate some of the strain they are seeing in the DMH response. As the Department of Mental Health responds to the Board of Supervisors' July directive to develop a plan for outreaching to and partnering with cities to help expand alternative crisis response systems throughout LA County,
Beach City's health district stands ready to serve as the backbone organization coordinating or piloting a crisis response model across our 3 cities and school districts. Appreciate the leadership around these issues, and are again happy to support. Thank you very much. Thank you. May we have the next speaker, please?
Our next participant will come from the line of Jed Stephen Brentley. Please state the regular agenda items you address today and whether you'll address on general public comment. You may begin.
My name is J. Stephen Brantley. I'm a resident of District 5. I'm speaking in favor of items 9, 18, and 20 and making general public comment. Item 9, thank you for addressing the trauma endured by community members who have lost a loved one at the hands of the LASD. Those impacted by police violence need and deserve not only compassion, but meaningful trauma-informed assistance, including but not limited to financial restitution. The Family Assistance Program can play an important part in the healing process for families like John Horton's, Anthony Vargas's, and too many others. That we would even question where the funding for that comes from speaks to a deeper problem. Of course, this money must come out of the LASD budget. Our entire justice system, as deeply flawed as it is built on the notion that those who have caused harm must pay for what they've done. That law enforcement is somehow exempt from that is truly scandalous and would render proceedings like this one farcical and worse. But more than that, we must take real strides toward preventing this violence from happening in the first place. The FAP is good, but shouldn't even be necessary, and I'm concerned that if funded by any other source than the Sheriff's Department, its existence does nothing to increase police accountability. If we don't get at the source of the problem, meaning a complete reimagining of county law enforcement, we will only continue to pay for the LASD's violence, corruption, and incompetence with our tax dollars and with our lives. On item 18, thank you for presenting this motion outlining the huge potential for diversion from jails to community-based care and calling for communication between county departments tasked with implementing decarceration policies. I would implore you to look to the Gender Responsive Advisory Committee's recommendations for decarceration and release employing targeted diversion strategies and reentry support that would focus first on bringing cisgender women and LGBTQ and TGI individuals home to their communities where they're safer and where many play a caregiving role. In moving forward with scaling down Central Regional and closing Men's Central, it is crucial that the jail closure implementation team, the Alternatives to Incarceration Working Group, the Office of Diversion and Reentry, and the GRAC work in concert to efficiently expand programming and empower CDOs that will reintegrate community members and prevent recidivism. On item 20, as a formerly unhoused person who has experienced mental health needs, I'm encouraged by any motion that would expand mental health services for Angelinos in crisis, but I also fear this is an opportunity to train and hire people from underserved and underrepresented communities, including the formerly incarcerated, that might be missed. However the county moves forward with creating and expanding mental health emergency response teams, it is imperative that these programs not be staffed with current or former members of law enforcement. This is an issue of health care, not criminal justice, and neither dispatchers nor first responders should have ties to the police. In fact, in recruiting and retaining mental health workers to these positions, the county should reallocate funds from the sheriff and probation departments into community-based initiatives. Diverting a small portion of the combined $4 billion these departments receive annually to contract with CBOs for field-based services could rapidly transform the way we care for and keep safe all our neighbors for the better. Thank you.
Thank you. May we have the next speaker, please?
As a reminder to address the board, if you've not already done so, please press 1 then 0 on your touchtone phone. Now press 1 0 again or you'll be removed from the queue.
Thank you. We will now hear the Spanish interpretation of this reminder.
Un recordatorio para dirigirse a la Junta. Si uno lo ha hecho, presione 1 y le voy a 0 en este momento. No presione 1 y 0 por segunda vez o será eliminado de la fila. Gracias.
Thank you. May we have the next speaker, please?
Our next participant will be Aguilina Serino Verzosa. Please state the regular agenda items you're addressing today and whether you'll address on general public comment. You may begin.
Yes, hello. Good morning, Honorable Board of Supervisors. My name is Aguilina Soriano Versosa, and I'm Executive Director of the nonprofit community organization Filipino Workers Center of Southern California, located in historic Filipino town District 1. We're part of the Immigrants Are LA campaign. I'm speaking in favor of item 8.
increase support for undocumented individuals and immigrants experiencing homelessness. The immigrant community in Los Angeles County is large and diverse. Immigrant Angelenos make up 35% of the county's total population of over 10 million individuals. Supervisor Solis's motion to increase support for undocumented individuals and immigrants experiencing homelessness is precisely the type of targeted and direct assistance we want our county leaders to champion in support of our immigrant communities for a full and just recovery. This next year will be crucial for high-need communities such as the undocumented homeless population of LA County will struggle to recover from the pandemic's health and economic impact unless direct aid supports are tailored to their unique needs and provided. And it's imperative that the county partner with trusted community-based entities that are rooted in immigrant communities and experienced in serving high-need immigrant residents. These partner organizations will ensure that county resources are directed to undocumented immigrants experiencing homelessness in a linguistically and culturally appropriate and effective manner, and they will provide the support necessary for these communities to navigate the process of accessing homeless services and programs. Thank you.
Thank you. May we have the next speaker, please?
Our next participant will be Carolyn Lab. Please state the regular agenda items you're addressing today and whether you'll address on general public comment. You may begin.
Hi, yes, my name is Carolyn Lab. I'm the VP of Clinical Services at Child Family Center. I've been working in community mental health services for the past 20 years and involved in the transformation of our full service partnership program, FSP program. I'm speaking in favor of item 20, enhancing recruitment and retention for mental health field positions, and for general public comment. I'd like to thank Supervisor Vargas and Hahn for bringing forth this motion. Staff turnover has a huge impact directly on client care. Our intensive services clients, especially our FSP clients, have severe mental health and substance abuse diagnosis. Our clients require consistent and impactful services. They depend on clinicians and team members to assist in creating stabilization to assist them in leading productive lives within our communities. Not being able to retain staff jeopardizes quality care, puts an extra burden on the team, creates burnout, and impacts staff morale. When clinicians or staff members leave, supervisors and managers of the FSP program have to step in and take on direct care services while also managing and overseeing the entire field-based programs. The volume of documentation, OMAs, assessments, and treatment plans creates barriers in sustaining staff, as well as the inability to match salaries of managed care organizations, school districts, and even DMH. Because of these multiple layers of documentation requirements, the expectation of the position of being on call 24/7, having to assess clients for suicidality and homicidality, traveling across the county to sustain care, we are unable to attract more experienced therapists willing to work in community mental health field-based services. Despite our best efforts, recruitment for therapists has taken us as long as 6 to 9 months to fill these positions. In the past 3 years, we have lost therapists to managed care organizations such as Kaiser, school districts, private practice, DMH, who often offer a higher pay, sometimes up to $30,000 more a year, better benefits, increased flexibility, and reduced paperwork expectations. During the recent county FSP transformation, it was recognized that in order to move this transformation forward, sustaining and recruiting high-level individuals was essential. We are required to include team members that require higher salaries, and yet we have been unable to allocate the additional funding in order to do so. Thank you very much.
Thank you. May we have the next speaker, please?
Our next participant will be Bel Tran Chao. Please state the regular agenda items you're addressing today and whether you'll address on general public comment. You may begin.
Hello, my name is Bel Tran Chao, and I'll be speaking on item 20 in general public comment. I just want to say I'm thankful for the board for this motion in prioritizing the need for an alternative to LA County's current law enforcement-dominated crisis response system. I am a licensed clinical social worker, and I work for a DMH contracted nonprofit where we work with people who live with serious mental illness. And while we provide crisis support for our clients, when we needed an alternative, we regularly find that the lack of resources that was being put into the current system has impacted the ability to get people into mental health services in a timely manner. Sometimes even having to wait 24 hours for a crisis response. Or this also leads to police being called and our clients being arrested and going to jail. So this is why law enforcement should never be a part of the response to a mental health crisis. This also includes not training law enforcement employees as dispatchers, but hiring people with significant experience in community-based, non-county mental health services and non-law enforcement and peer-led response. I fully support the Department of Mental Health hiring community members and people with lived experience for crisis response. We need to invest in a holistic alternative crisis response, which includes supportive housing, 24-hour crisis centers, medication, assistant treatment, sobering centers, psychiatric urgent cares, and so forth. This is all an essential piece, and it should not be overlooked when recruiting for positions as well. And thank you for that.
Thank you. May we have the next speaker, please?
And as a reminder to address the board, if you have not already done so, please press 1, then 0 on your touch-tone phone. Now press 1, 0 second time, or you'll be removed from the queue. Our next speaker will come from the line of Alexia Cruz. Please state the regular agenda items you're addressing today and whether you'll address on general public comment. You may begin.
Hello, Honorable Board. My name is Alexia Cruz. I am a transgender Latina that resides in LA. I am an employee at the Trans Latino Coalition, and I am in strong favor of items 7, 8, and 9, the Family Assistance Program. The Dreamers need our support. This is their only home that they know. On item 8, there are many trans Latinx folks that are undocumented and immigrants that reside in Los Angeles and face a lot of struggles that most immigrants face and some, and they need the support. And on item number 9, we need to support the families of the victims that have been victims of LA's biggest gang, which is LAFC, and they need our support. So I'm in strong favor of these 3 items. Thank you.
Thank you. May we have the next speaker, please?
Our next participant will be Misha Hudson. Please state the regular agenda items you wish to address today and whether you'll address on general public comment. You may begin.
Hi, I'm calling on behalf of Eagle Collegiate Academy. It's a new charter school, and we really need you guys' help to release the permits for the school, for the clothes to be put down so the children can be put in their classrooms instead of home, and for the staff to keep their jobs. Because right now we're working from home, and the children are going to school from home, and it's virtual, and that's just a sad thing for this, that we're really fighting hard to get everything that everyone is asking from us, all the sidewalks, everything that they need, we're getting done, and y'all still holding the permits for us not to get the school started. So y'all could please release the permits so we can get these schools. Thank you.
Thank you. May we have the next speaker, please?
Our next participant will be line Don Hakim. Please state the regular agenda items you wish to address today and whether you'll address on general public comment. You may begin.
Speaking on general public comment, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Please begin.
My name is Don Hakim, and I'm speaking on behalf of Eagle Collegiate Academy. We are asking for the supervisors to please work with us and release our permits so that our kids can get back into the classroom. ECA will be the only school in our community offering an international baccalaureate curriculum for kindergarten through 3rd grade. It is imperative that we get these kids back into the classroom, so please help us. We are a school, we have limited funding, and some of these requests we just simply cannot afford. So thank you very much for listening.
Thank you. May we have the next speaker, please?
Our next participant will be Red Chief Hunt. Please state the regular agenda items you wish to address today and whether you'll address on general public comment. You may begin.
Yes, the Red Chief Hunt. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you. Please begin.
Okay, yeah, I'm agenda 9 and public general comment. I would like to say that we need to get vouchers for the families that's been victimized by the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department. I think that would be adequate and general public comment is with our housing situation. I'm actually going through a couple of programs myself, and I foresee a whole lot of problems with our housing for health, not exactly with housing for health, but with the vendors that we use not adequately addressing the clients and things like that. It's a big issue because in the next 90 days, we're going to experience a lot more homeless, almost approximately 28 more thousand homeless people in the county that we're looking forward to, but not people to address the issues properly. So I'm looking forward to working with Han and Michell on this issue regarding getting the proper vendors in there to help the homeless people. And this is the Red Chief Hunt. Please take me seriously. I'm welcome to see you guys back next year. Thank you, and you guys have a good week.
Thank you. May we have the next speaker, please?
Our next participant will be Jose Ruiz. Please state the regular agenda items you wish to address today, and whether you'll address on general public comment. You may begin.
Yes, hi, good morning, Madam Chair and members of the board. My name is Jose Miguel Ruiz. I'm the Executive Director of Cultiva LA, a 501c3 nonprofit in the downtown and LA. I'd like to support items 7, 8, and general comment. For item 7, as the former DACA recipient, and I say former because I was one of the lucky ones to have been granted status through my dad or through my father's employment in the field, I was able to secure my status. However, not so many were lucky to get that, and those are a lot of my cousins and family members and members of my community. So I want to support any additional help for DACA recipients, dreamers, that's available through the county. Also, for item 8, I'd like to support our community who is still undocumented, who is experiencing homelessness, particularly in the 1st District, but also in LA County. And homelessness can be disguised in many ways. Folks that are just one check away from being homeless, or who are actually 3 families to a one single unit household, which is the case in the 1st District with a lot of these first or 1 unit apartments, and you have multiple families living there. Cultiva has been providing essential services like food throughout the pandemic, and what we've noticed is that a lot of these folks have come to us asking for fresh fruit, no canned items. They don't have a kitchen. So these are some of the realities that we have experienced, and we have responded firsthand, making sure that these communities also have fresh access to food, and especially the children have a safe place where they can continue to learn and excel in their academics. So with that said, I'd like to provide additional support and thank the supervisor for making this motion on item 8. With that, that's the end of my comment.
Thank you. May we have the next speaker, please?
As a reminder, to address the board, if you've not already done so, please press 1 then 0 at this time. Now press 1 0 a second time, or you'll be removed from the queue. Our next person will be Manie. Please state the regular agenda items you wish to address today, and whether you'll address on general public comment. You may begin.
Good morning. My name is Manie, and I am addressing item number 12. I am a resident of District 2, lifelong Carson resident. I live a half mile from the Dominguez Channel. And just to clarify, it's not like rotten eggs. I take rotten eggs over what we're dealing with. Imagine a slaughterhouse full of rotting carcasses in the hot summer sun. Yeah, that's what we're living with. So I stand in support of this item, but I ask that you guys expand the services that you're providing to also include utilities and people that haven't run their AC and fans in nonstop, so we need assistance. Also to set up some type of transportation assistance for those who relocated hotels outside of town. They need to be able to get to work and to get the kids to school. Also to make sure that our disabled are assisted. And how long is this going to last? To the remediations, and how long is this remediation going to take, and what are we doing for our business community, because people are having to come and work there and not getting any form of assistance. So we need help, and we need you guys to help us and give us everything you can, and also please provide information on Spanish and Tagalog. We need that, and I thank you guys for setting up the pop-up over in the Carson Community Center, but if you could also help the City of Carson with the procurement of air purifiers, because the City of Carson is having a serious backlog of being able to distribute. So if you guys employees have your purchasing division, maybe contact the City of Carson.
Your time is expired. Can we have the next speaker,
Thank you so much.
Our next speaker will come from line of Dee Sandoval. Please state the regular agenda items you wish to address today and whether you'll address on general public comment. You may begin.
Good morning. This is Dee Sandoval speaking on behalf of PATH, People Assisting the Homeless, regarding items 8 and 43E. We're very glad to see the county broaden its scope of services for people experiencing homelessness and potential mental health crises. So regarding item 8, PATH has operated in Los Angeles since 1984, so our staff are intimately familiar with the patchwork of funding regulations that prevent us from delivering the most effective person-centered services to someone just because of the way they came into our country. Fortunately, LA County already runs one of the best tools for helping an unhoused individual regardless of their immigration status. That's the Housing for Health Flexible Rental Subsidies. Those allow us to house an individual with fewer administrative barriers and strings. Still, there's much more room for improvement, so we're very grateful to Supervisor Solis for authoring this resolution. Regarding item 43E, we're very heartened to see the county support Metro in authorizing alternative crisis response teams. As some of you might know, since 2018, PATH has contracted with Metro to conduct outreach on trains and at stations, reaching unhoused transit riders and connecting them with services. So since 2018, our team has engaged more than 5,000 individuals to assess their needs, placed over 2,000 individuals into interim housing, and connected nearly 1,000 individuals to permanent housing. As we all know, homelessness is a tremendous stressor on mental health, creating and exacerbating issues that may cause someone to undergo a mental health crisis. So we're very glad that Metro will retain more staff to help solve these crises in a trauma-informed manner, and we stand ready to help however we can. Thank you so much to Supervisors Hahn and Solis for leading this motion, and thank you for the opportunity to speak. Bye.
Thank you. May we have the next speaker, please?
Our next speaker will come from line of Jones Alki. Please state the regular agenda items you wish to address today and whether you'll address on general public comment. You may begin.
Good morning. My name is Jones Okeke. I join my fellow parents and staff members to advocate for Eagle College's Academy. Our families and our team have endured hardship due to delays and conflicting requirements from the county departments over many months now. We believe that asking ACA team to start over with ESA after about 5 months of working with the county will create more hardships and unnecessary delays for families and students. Additionally, I am aware that ECA has also paid all fees needed to comply with county requirements. We have many remarkable progress lately with other county departments and would like to move quickly with the Public Works Department so that students can return to school as their public and charter school counterparts throughout the county. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. May we have the next speaker, please?
Our next speaker will come from line of David Nurse. Please state the regular agenda items you wish to address today and whether you address on general public comment. You may begin.
I live in Santa Cruz. But yeah.
Can you please give your comment?
Oh my job, I have a job that's 3 blocks away, 28.
Can we have the next speaker, please?
Our next speaker will come from line of Make de la Cura. Please state the regular agenda items you wish to address today and whether you address on general public comment. You may begin.
Hi, my name is Michelle de la Cuadra. I am with the Trans Latina Coalition, Manager of Policy. I'm calling in support of Agenda Item 8 and Agenda Item number 9. We are in strong support of funding specifically for undocumented individuals here in Los Angeles County. There are so many undocumented trans people that are seeking services and seeking life-saving access to resources here in the county, and to be able to get resources to build those services is drastically important for our community. And in addition, agenda item number 9, just really reemphasizing what's been shared by other people in terms of the family assistance program. Just really thinking that it's crucial that people get assistance in times where they've lost loved ones to police violence, and being able to get support with burial costs and all the other costs that come with losing a loved one. We're in strong support of getting services and getting resources for that. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. May we have the next speaker, please?
Our next speaker will come from the line of Unisa Hernandez. Please state the regular agenda items you wish to address today, and what you'll address on general public comment. You may begin.
Good morning. Can y'all hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Please begin.
Thank you. Hi, good morning. My name is Unisa Hernandez. I'm the co-founder and co-executive director of La Defensa and a member of the Justice LA Coalition and the Reimagine LA County Coalition. I am also a resident of the 1st District. I'm calling today, but thank you, Honorable Chairwoman and members of the board, for giving us this time to address you all. I'd like to speak in support of items 7, 8, 9, 20, 11, and 18, and general public comment. Thank you, Supervisors Solis and Kuhl, for putting motion 7 forward. It's great to move policies that will protect our DACA folks, but also to keep fighting for everybody else, right? So we're not leaving anybody behind. It's a great motion, though, moving forward. And Supervisor Solis, I really want to commend you today. You put 2 motions forward that are very strong and that it takes courage to put forward, and you've authored them by yourself. So I hope, others on the board can also support you on these motions on number 8 and 9 on supporting homeless, houseless, and housing services for people who are immigrants or who are undocumented. I went to the park the other day, and there's so many folks who are living at the park because they don't have access to housing. And so just putting a motion forward that addresses that directly, I think will be so helpful to so many and have material impact on their lives. And also number 9, investing in supporting people who have been impacted by shared violence. So, and the families of, thank you to the families of Brea, Anthony Vargas, Miss Helen Jones, representing her son, John Gordon. Thank you for supporting them and the countless other families. Number 11 and number 20 are critically important to building out the decentralized system of care that we imagine that will help us support decarcerating our overloaded jail system. So I applaud, Supervisor Hunt and Barger for putting the motion on mental health jobs, and Supervisor Mitchell on building out the healthcare jobs and actually the whole system itself. Thank you for putting those 11 and 20 forward. And then number 18, I'm one of the chairs of the Gender Responsive Advisory Committee in LA County. And, over 2 years went into developing these recommendations. A lot of them are uplifting what's in the ATI Care First report, but it specifies that we need to focus on pretrial community-based services because over 52% of the people at CRDF are pretrial, meaning they have been convicted there, they generally cannot pay to get out or because of the current pretrial system. And a significant amount are there and they have mental health needs, and they've been identified by reports such as the RAND report study that have shown that they could be better served in ODR services. So I also urge you to please read the letter that the GRAC sent you asking to expand the housing program slots and ODR that could help us also decarcerate CRDS and the K6G unit. Just really want to thank you all for a great agenda today and for all the leadership y'all have shown. It's great work. Thank you.
Thank you. May we have the next speaker, please?
Next speaker will come from the line of Javier Gonzales. Please state the regular agenda items you wish to address today, as well as you'll address on general public comment. You may begin.
Hi, good morning. My name is Javier Gonzales, and I'm calling on behalf of Eagle Collegiate Academy. I'm a parent, and we're currently in the process of having our school being built, but there's a lot of processes and public works that are being held up. And so we're asking for them to expedite the process and be able to allow us to open up the school, because my son right now is currently enrolled in the school, and it's very difficult for him to do everything online, and he is very excited to start in person. And the school is offering a lot of great programs that my child is greatly appreciated for. And they're opening up programs for special education and international baccalaureate programs that are not part of a regular public school. And it would be a shame that our school would be shut down just because the process is not being expedited. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. May we have the next speaker, please?
As a reminder, to address the board, if you've not already done so, please press 1 then 0 on your touchtone phone. Now press 1 0 second time or you'll be removed from the queue. Our next participant will be Valerie Vargas. Please state the regular agenda items you wish to address today and whether you'll address on general public comment. You may begin.
Good morning. This is Valerie Vargas. I am calling in support of item number 9 for the Family Assistance Program. And I am the family of Anthony Vargas, who was murdered by the East Los Angeles Sheriff's Department. And, you know, I don't know, we had called in support for the family harassment motion that was passed in March. And this motion for the Family Assistance Program just seems to follow that. And we're saying that, you know, with the harassment that the family impacted by LAFC misconduct comes the aftermath and the trauma and the lack of services that we are not able to obtain because we're not considered victims of crime. So the Family Assistance Program will help families gather services for their mental health, for the PTSD, burial costs. You know, we're having to come together for one another because the families are the ones who take care of each other because there's nobody else in the county that even bothers with us. I also want to add, you know, I've been sitting here for the past hour and I had this thing written down and it's concerning to see that we're only giving 1 hour a month to speak to the Board of Supervisors about our concerns, and y'all just seem very distracted, especially Janet Hunt. You know, I see you laughing and making jokes.
Excuse me, your time has expired. May we have the next speaker, please? Oh, hold on 1 minute. Please continue.
Anyway, yeah, you know, the least we could do is pay attention to the families who are in support of this item. Because it's a reflection of you guys not paying attention to us and how you really do, like, treat impacted families from LAFC. Thank you, Hilda Solis, for bringing this motion forward. I am in support of it. And, you know, I really hope that the board passes this because it's not fair that we have to pay for out-of-pocket for services that was created, that have been and are created by LAFC violence. The violence has to stop because Family Assistance Program shouldn't even have to be made. Thank you.
Thank you. May we have the next speaker, please?
Our next participant will be Francisco Moreno. Please state the regular agenda items you wish to address today and whether you'll address on general public comment. You may begin.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Please begin.
Thank you. Good morning, Honorable Board of Supervisors. My name is Francisco Moreno, Executive Director of COFEM, Council of Mexican Federations. Our main office is located on El Pueblo Monument, Olvera Street, District 14. I'm speaking in favor of item 8. Immigrants are part of the fabric of Los Angeles, and their economic, social, and cultural contributions make it the dynamic and vibrant county it is today. We applaud Supervisor Solis' motion to increase support for undocumented individuals and immigrants experiencing homelessness. She has been a champion in support of immigrant communities. Undocumented individuals experiencing homelessness from accessing emergency housing and homeless services, including linguistic barriers. The COVID-19 pandemic has hit our community at all levels, including the most vulnerable. It is imperative that the county partner with trusted community-based entities that are rooted in immigrant communities and experiences in serving high-need immigrant residents. These partner organizations will ensure that county resources are directed to undocumented immigrants experiencing homelessness in a linguistically and culturally appropriate manner, and they will provide the support necessary for these communities to navigate the process of accessing homeless services and programs. Thank you very much.
Thank you. May we have the next speaker, please?
Our next participant will be Alicia Eguinio. Please state the regular agenda items you wish to address today and whether you address on general public comment. You may begin.
Hi, my name is Dr. Felicia Eugenio. I am addressing general public comment in support of the Committee of Interns and Residents. I am the third-year family medicine resident as well as chief resident at Charles Drew Martin Luther King Books, and I'm also the vice president of our committee of interns and residents. As many of the residents have stated, these past couple of years, the demand for quantity and quality of physicians was at an all-time high here in Los Angeles County, especially in our county hospitals. Our communities were hit hardest in terms of infection rates and deaths from COVID-19. So as we're speaking now, prospective applicants are looking to see how our programs cared for and supported their residents during the pandemic, as it will be an indication of how they proceed going forward in times of uncertainty. Residents choose LA County because they are committed to serving the underserved. However, LA County hospitals fare lowest in salary and overall economic benefits, and during the pandemic, we had to fundraise and outsource just to ensure that our residents had enough PPE while serving on the front lines. Despite all of this, LA County leadership has refused to negotiate with us. So I urge you all to reflect on why it is LA County is not more concerned about recruiting a strong workforce to care for our most marginalized communities. We're asking for you to meet with us, your frontline providers, to ensure that we're able to care for ourselves so that we can continue to care for our patients. Thank you.
Thank you. May we have the next speaker, please?
Our next participant will be David Nurse. Please state the regular agenda items you wish to address today, and what you'll address on general public comment. You may begin.
Yeah, my son is a sheriff at the LA Department of Sheriff. Listening to Villanueva talking about that you guys are looking to fund the police, and right now he's overworked. I mean, I hear a lot of people talking about murders from the sheriff and stuff like that, but usually they need to do their homework. Just one, when people have problems against, the gang members or whatever, the first thing they're call the police. Please don't take money from them. Thank you very much.
Thank you. May we have the next speaker, please?
Our next participant will be Brooke Ambrose. Please state the regular agenda items you wish to address today, and what you'll address on general public comment. You may begin.
Hi, this is Ambrose Brooks. I'm a resident of District 5 and the campaign coordinator at Dignity Empowered Now and an organizer with Justice LA. I will speak on item 8, 18, 20, and general public comment. First, I thank the board for their agenda today. On item number 8, I thank Supervisor Solis for putting forth this motion to develop targeted recommendations for improving outreach and services to LA County's undocumented houseless population. Everyone deserves safe housing. I encourage the board to support Supervisor Solis with next steps for developing a more robust and inclusive outreach strategy for our houseless communities. I also encourage more oversight of the relevant county departments in their outreach efforts, to encourage them to move with empathy and sensitivity while considering how many undocumented county residents are reluctant to seek services due to their immigration status. Outreach for these communities must be done in a way that guarantees their safety, prohibits any involvement from ICE, and genuinely works towards providing safe and stable housing for all houseless community members. Thank you again, Supervisor Solis, for this expansive motion to guide the development of more inclusive services for houseless community members. On item number 18, I commend Supervisors Kuehl and Mitchell for presenting this motion. The Gender Responsive Advisory Committee has authored a groundbreaking report that lays out specific recommendations for guiding the county's efforts to decarcerate Central Regional Detention Facility and close Men's Central Jail. First and foremost, Los Angeles County must take substantive efforts to release incarcerated persons to return to their communities. This strategy includes targeted diversion strategies, reentry support, and CBO capacity building that focuses on cisgender women and two-spirit LGBTQ and TGI individuals. Close Men's Central Jail and decarcerate CRDS. This motion depicts the much-needed coordination between the relevant county bodies tasked with designing and implementing county decarceration policies. It is critical that there is open and transparent communication between the jail closure implementation team and the ATI working group, ODR, and the GRAC to ensure that available diversion programs are being utilized and decarceration efforts are swift and coordinated. On item number 20, I thank the board for prioritizing the need for alternatives to LA County's current law enforcement-dominated crisis response system by presenting this motion to increase recruitment and retention for alternative crisis response positions. First, I asked the board and DMH to look at salary disparities between mental health crisis responders and sheriff's deputies. What we've heard throughout this morning is that the county is not adequately funding staff positions in our health care system. This includes mental health field positions and, demonstrates obvious reasons why it is difficult to recruit and retain mental health field professionals. An effective and holistic alternative crisis response approach must invest directly in the community. I encourage the board to consider prioritizing employing impacted community members as mental health field responders, as well as peer support models. I also maintain that law enforcement should never be involved in responding to a mental health crisis. It is critical that armed law enforcement are prohibited from responding to a mental health crisis. Rather than training law enforcement employees as mental health dispatchers, the county must focus on equipping more mental health professionals and impacted community members to serve as the first responders for alternative crisis response. Thank you very much.
Excuse me. Thank you. Madam Chair, that completes the 90 minutes of the public comment.
Thank you very much. I especially want to thank all the public speakers. Our public speaking portion has now ended. I want to thank everyone that called in. And if you are unable to provide your comments, you can still submit written comments as indicated on the agenda. And we'll continue to accept all written comments that come in during the meeting, which will become part of the official record. Madam Executive Officer, please indicate the agenda item numbers on which we will be voting.
The following items are before you: 1D, 3D, 43F, and 43G, and 43H to approve the urgency and the motion that was read in, and 46 are before you.
Thank you. Moved by Supervisor Kuehl, seconded by Supervisor Hunt to approve these items. Madam Executive Officer, please call the roll.
Supervisor Mitchell.
Aye.
Supervisor Mitchell, aye. Supervisor Kuehl.
Aye.
Supervisor Kuehl, aye. Supervisor Hahn.
Aye.
Supervisor Hahn, aye. Supervisor Vargas.
Aye.
Supervisor Vargas, aye. Supervisor Solis.
Aye.
Supervisor Solis, aye. Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you. Before we take a public comment on the public hearing items, the Executive Officer will read the short titles of each public hearing item. Madam Executive Officer, please swear in those who plan to testify before the board on the public hearing item.
For those who plan to testify before the board on public hearing items, please prepare to be sworn in. In the testimony you may give before this board, you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. Item 1 is the hearing on the modification of the Diamond Bar Golf Course by the San Gabriel Valley Council of Governments and the Los Angeles County Metropolitan Transportation Authority for the compensation effort of $28,250,000 in exchange for 9.13 acres of parkland. There is no departmental statement and correspondence was received. Item 2 is a hearing on adoption of resolution to approve the 2020 Urban Water Management Plans, Los Angeles County Work District Number 29, Malibu and the Marina del Rey Water Systems, County Water Works District Number 40, Antelope Valley, and the 2020 Water Shortage Contingency Plan for Water Works Districts Number 29 and 40. There is no departmental statement and no correspondence was received. Item 3 is a hearing on the adoption of a resolution to revise the 2022 Hollywood Bowl season maximum and minimum ticket price schedule proposed by the Los Angeles Philharmonic Association. There is no departmental statement and no correspondence was received. Item 4 is a hearing on appeal of project number 2021-002011 to initiate a plan amendment to the Rowland Heights Community Plan for the potential development of 249 single-family resident units, 72 townhouse units, and 2 open space lots on 75.23 gross acres located at 19816 Walnut Drive in the unincorporated community of Rowland Heights within the Walnut Zone District. A written statement was provided and correspondence was received.
Thank you. The appellant's representative, Ren Ewing, will be given 2 minutes. Ren, please begin.
Good morning.
It is our position that the approval for the initiation of the plan amendment to the Rowland Heights Community Plan was missing some vital information that was necessary for the Regional Planning Commission to make an informed decision. Although it was brought to the attention of the RPC in July, the existence of protective restrictions recorded on the subject property have never been fully addressed. The property has a restrictive deed dated December 26, 1961, states the property in question shall operate specifically as a golf course only. This declaration runs with the property and was to continue in full force and effect until January 31, 2016. From that time period, it is set to continue for another 20 years unless within 6 months prior to expiration, the owners of the property can demonstrate that the property is no longer suitable for use as a golf course. In 2014, the owners attempted to sell the land, claiming the golf course was unprofitable. The owners had an opportunity prior to January 31, 2016, to demonstrate the property was no longer suitable for a golf course. However, no such action was taken. Instead, the owners continued to operate a fully functioning 27-hole golf course. The county recorder filings do not indicate any document was filed prior to the expiration date, and therefore the automatic 20-year term remains in full force. Accordingly, the protective restrictions require anyone owning the property to use the land as a golf course only, with no opportunity to change the land use until 2036. We see no evidence that the restrictive deed was removed. It is our opinion that the vote by the RPC should be nullified and the application rejected until the legal issues of the restrictive deed are resolved. Furthermore, any failure to operate the land as specifically set forth in the restrictive deed will undeniably result in lawsuits being filed by the many affected homeowners against the landowners in possibly LA County for breach of restriction and inverse condemnation. Please uphold our appeal. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we'll hear from the applicant's representative, John Conk. He'll be given 2 minutes. Mr. Conk, please begin.
Good morning, Honorable Chair and Supervisors. I'm John Conk, representing the applicant RV Dev LLC. The issue before you today is not to approve or deny a proposed residential project with public parks and trails. What is before you today is to decide whether or not the process to study a proposed residential public parks and trails redevelopment project in Rowland Heights should move forward as decided previously by the Regional Planning Commission. As you have heard from your staff, this appeal is without merit and should be denied. We are here today to ask you to deny this appeal, uphold the Regional Planning Commission's decision to initiate the plan amendment process, and allow it to move forward. We've heard a number of comments, or we will hear a number of comments today from individuals who live near the proposed redevelopment. And denial of this appeal will allow us to continue working with the public and county staff. And during the CEQA process, we will be able to address the traffic, biology, wildlife, and other environmental issues that have been raised, which will be studied in detail in a full environmental impact report and discussed at future public hearings. Recently, we have found great willingness within the community to look beyond the Paling Golf Course and plan for a future with new housing, public parks, and trails, which are desperately needed. A number of organizations, local businesses, and individuals have submitted letters supporting the process moving forward, including the Rowland Unified School District, the San Gabriel Valley Civic Alliance, DISFED, YIMBY Action, People for Housing, the BIA, and the San Gabriel Valley Economic Partnership. The partnership stated in their letter, this proposal is an opportunity that the county must explore further through its comprehensive planning process. We ask that you deny this appeal and allow the Regional Planning Commission decision to stand. Thank you.
Thank you. Members, at this time, we'll now take public comment on the public hearing items 1 through 4. Madam Executive Officer, please read the calling information that was also provided on the agenda and explain the speaking rules to those members of the public who are calling in to address the board.
As indicated on the agenda, members of the public wishing to offer public comment on items 1 through 4 should call 877-226-8163 and use participant code number 852761. To repeat, please call 877-226-8163 and use participant code number 852761. Do not call that number if you only want to listen to the meeting. To listen only, please call 877-873-8017 and follow the instructions. To members of the public calling in when it's your turn to speak, Please state your name and which public hearing items you wish to speak on. Each person will have 1 minute for one public hearing item and 2 minutes for 2 or more public hearing items. We will continue to accept all written comments that come in during the meeting, which will become part of the record. We will allocate 5 minutes of public comment on all public hearing items, we will continue to accept all written comments that will come in during the meeting, which will become part of the record. When speaking on the public hearing items, you must be on topic. Our goal is to get through as many speakers as we can. If you're not speaking on a topic, or if we cannot tell if you're speaking on a public hearing item, you will get 1 warning from County Council or the Chair. If you do not immediately or clearly get on topic, or if you stray off topic again, you will forfeit the rest of your time, and the Chair will move to the next speaker. Please note that if you're also listening to the board meeting on a computer or speakerphone, you will need to turn down the volume on those devices as soon as the moderator calls on you. If you do not turn down the volume, there will be an echo. Moderator, may we have the first speaker, please?
As a reminder to address the board, if you've not already done so, please press 1 then 0 at this time. Do not press 1 and 0 a second time or you'll be removed from the queue.
Thank you. We will now hear the Spanish interpretation of this reminder.
Como recordatorio para dirigirse a la Junta, si aún no lo ha hecho, presione 1 y 0 en este momento. No presione 1 y 0 por segunda vez o será eliminado de la fila. Gracias.
Thank you. May we have the first speaker, please?
Our first participant is Diana Coronado. Please state the public hearing agenda items you're addressing today. You may begin.
Good morning, Chair and Supervisors. My name is Diana Coronado, and I'm speaking on item number 4. I'm speaking on behalf of the Building Industry Association, an organization focused on building housing for all. Again, on behalf of our membership, we would like to urge you to deny the appeal of the Royal Vista residential project, which is item number 4. In an effort to reduce construction costs and alleviate the housing shortfalls, the county should protect the fair review process for housing production by denying this appeal. The lack of adequate residential development sites has stymied housing production efforts to build the over 90,000 units needed to accommodate all income levels. The Royal Vista project helps to reach this goal by efficiently creating homes on underutilized land near a major job center. Additionally, we believe that the proposal for Royal Vista will create more price-attainable housing and will accommodate the planned regional population and economic growth in our county. For these reasons, we believe that the process for such consideration must be allowed to move forward. We recognize that some neighbors may object to new development in their backyard, but that cannot be a reason to avoid initiating a thorough review of the proposal. We believe that the 3-1 decision of the Regional Planning Commission should stand. BIA strongly urges you to deny the appeal to the Royal Vista housing project. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. May we have the next speaker, please?
Our next participant will be Wanda Ewing. Please state the public hearing agenda items you're addressing today. You may begin.
Item agenda number 4. Good morning. Rezoning Royal Vista from open space to residential will allow the entire 188 acres of golf course to be developed. Our community does not have the infrastructure to accommodate 1,000 and more houses and units. In addition, Royal Vista is one of the last sizable green spaces in our area. Development will destroy the mature trees, the wildlife, and their corridor to the Puente Hills significant ecological area. Please protect the natural habitat. We ask that the board uphold our appeal and vote against initiating the process of amending the Rowland Heights Community Plan in order for the court to resolve the legal issues regarding the protective covenant. Thank you.
Thank you. May we have the next speaker, please?
Our next participant will be Shelley Gentry. Please state the public hearing agenda items you're addressing today. You may begin.
Excuse me. My name is Shelley Gentry, and I'm speaking on item 4. The appeal should not be approved and the building project should be denied. Because protective restrictions exist on the land, the project is not even legally viable at this time. Any action now on the county's behalf might lead to an impression with the public that the board is operating with a conflict of interest, as the county owns a competitive golf course just a few blocks down the same street. And by eliminating the county's only golfing competitor in the area, the county certainly stands to benefit financially when it gains Royal Vista customers, should that project move forward. And also I'd like to say that this has nothing to do with affordable housing. These houses are 5 and 6 bedroom homes that will sell for $1 million, $1.3 million, $1.4 million. These are not affordable houses. If it was affordable housing, that might be a different thing. And also it has some condominiums that will probably sell for $600,000 or $700,000. Again, nothing to do with affordable housing. Thank you.
Thank you. May we have the next speaker, please?
Next participant will be Elizabeth Hansberg. Please state the public hearing agenda items you're addressing today. You may begin.
Yes, my name is Elizabeth Hansberg, and I'm speaking on item number 4. I represent YIMBY Action. We're part of the Yes in My Backyard movement, and I'm asking you to deny the appeal. I'd like to second all the reasons that the building industry representative made. I would agree with all of her points. The reality is that to meet our RENA goals for the entire Skag region, every community needs to do its part. We need to make room for new neighbors, and the fact that existing neighbors might object to it can't be a reason that we shut out housing opportunity for the next generation. And you cannot just, freeze the community as it is today. And the fact that we have such a great housing shortage, I'd like to address the comment that was made about the fact that $600,000 to $700,000 is not affordable. In Southern California, that would be considered a missing middle or a middle income housing price. And for folks who already have their homes, who bought them, 10, 20 years ago when housing was possibly more quote unquote reasonable, they have the benefit of securing their mortgages and their house payments. And we have, by not building new housing, we effectively shut out the younger generations from achieving home ownership. So even though...
Your time has expired. May we have the next speaker, please?
Our next participant will come from the line of Roy Humphreys. Please state the public hearing agenda items you're addressing today. You may begin.
I'm speaking.
Can you please turn down your volume?
Oh, okay.
Please begin.
Just a minute.
Let me fix this thing.
Okay, that should have taken
Okay, go
care.
ahead, please.
I'm sorry about that. Okay, first, the human animal is a selfish animal, and
May we
those.
have the next speaker, please?
Hello, I'm here.
Good morning, Madam Chair and Supervisors. My name is Chris Wilson, representing LA BizFed. We come to you today to urge you to deny the appeal on regarding public hearing number 4, currently before you, and uphold the Regional Planning Commission's 3-1 vote in July that will allow the initiation process of the Royal Vista Residential Development Project to move forward. As you are aware, the Royal Vista Golf Club in Rowland Heights has been in declining financial health for years. Royal Vista has struggled to remain profitable and can no longer afford to maintain all 27 holes. The proposed project will seek to convert a stagnant site and create new housing opportunities for local families, workers, and professionals. It also continues the investment in the Rowland Heights community by improving public streets, sidewalks, and upgrades to street lighting and landscaping. However, in order to move forward with this development project that will seek to address our region's housing needs, we respectfully request that you deny the appeal and uphold the Regional Planning Commission's 3-1 vote to allow for this project to move forward. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. May we have the next speaker, please?
Next speaker will come from the line of Eric Previn. Please state the public hearing agenda items you're addressing today. You may begin.
Yeah, it's Eric Previn from Studio City, and there's a history of county and golf, so I took note of the Diamond Bar case, which is a nice one. We're going to collect $28 million from MTA, where Mark Ridley Thomas and a gang of supervisors also sit. And it's only for 9 acres of the 170 acres, so it looks okay.
The thing that I would add is that before we approve this kind of a thing, since the hearings during the pandemic were truncated and I was blocked repeatedly from speaking about it, there's a history of that we do an audit, an independent audit on all of the county golf courses and Norma Garcia and John Wicker and all those characters. And then moving on to the item 3 hearing, which is about Sheila's favorite subject, the Hollywood Bowl season ticket pricing increases, the annual increases, which it's such an interesting document. It's so nicely done. It's sort of like the exercise is try to talk about all of the stuff that's free, like the $1 seats, while downplaying that it's actually $55 to valet park for a senior citizen, and that they're overall jacking the prices up by 4.6%. You know, you have the association wants a 3.8 increase, a 4.6 increase, just gouging, and the pretending that it's the expenses moving forward is just not reasonable. It's not appropriate from Parks and Rec, who's also involved in that golf fraud. And I got to tell you, these public golf courses are such beautiful assets that when we give them away, it should be done transparently. And I don't know where Mary Wickham is. I guess she's over at Blue Ribbon. But the stinking transfer from FICO to our friends and not-for-profits with Mr. Ridley Thomas in there, it's really shocking. And this board has a real nerve to try to limit public comment on these kinds of items, especially going on annually for a year. You know, you're declaring emergency after emergency. We want to be safe, but we need to pay attention to these instruments. It's very...
May we have the next speaker, please?
And Chairperson, at this time, we have no one else in queue.
Dee.
Thank you. Our time for public speakers on a public hearing has ended. Thank you for all that called in to speak. If you are unable to provide comments, you may submit written comments as indicated on the agenda. We will continue to accept all written comments that come in during these meetings, which will become part of the record. Today, we'll begin with public hearing items 1 through 4, followed by items 11 through 20, and we will be taking up together, those two items. And then,
Madam Chair, are you going to ask if any of the supervisors want to make comments on any of these items?
Yes. I know on the public hearing, I'm going to call on you.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, I'm just giving you the lay of the land and what items we're going to go through. So again, 1 through 4 public hearing items, followed by items 11 and 20, which will be taken up together.
Public comment has ended. This conference bridge is also ending. To continue listening, call 877-873-8017 and follow the prompt. Public comment has ended. This conference bridge is also ending. To continue listening, call 877-873-8017 and follow
I'm
the
just
prompt.
giving you the lay of the land. That is what items we're going to go through. So again, 1 through 4 public hearing items, followed by items 11 and 20, which will be taken up together. And then we'll hear items 12, 18, 36, 43C, and finishing up with 43. So now we're going to go to the first item, and that is the public hearing item 1 on the modification of the Diamond Bar Golf Course. And I will recognize you, Supervisor Hunt.
I knew you were. I was anxious. Thank you, Madam Chair. Colleagues, I just wanted to make a few comments on this item, just to give you a little bit of a sense of what this is. Metro created the 5760 Freeway Congestion Relief Project to address the unacceptable congestion and safety issues in that interchange, which was ranked the worst in the nation. In fact, when we went back to DC, sometimes on our trips, this was the project that I and several of you helped me lobby for federal dollars. This is a goods movement corridor, but it's also a corridor that average commuters take, and it literally was ranked as one of the most congested interchanges in the nation. And even if you don't live in Diamond Bar, chances are you've been stuck in that mess, which is the 5760 interchange. This project is important. It has received federal dollars, state dollars, and it's got commitments from measures R and M that come through Metro. This project won't solve all the problems, but I will tell you, it's a really important project, and it will begin to address these issues and make a big difference. Here's what happened. In order to create this project, come up with $28 million that Metro will pay, so we will be accepting that, and it will allow us to make that substitution. And Supervisor Solis, you'll be happy that this money is planning to go to the new Puente Hills Park, which is, of course, on the former Puente Hills landfill that you have been a champion for since you were in the assembly, making sure those residents who have suffered with living next to a landfill will now have the beautiful park. So that was kind of the swap. I think it makes complete sense. And by the way, for those of you who are worried about where are the extra acres at the golf course, are they going to still have their 18 holes? They have enough money to reconfigure that golf course. So in fact, no golfer will be denied any holes there. Thanks to the San Gabriel Valley COG, Metro, Caltrans, and our county parks team for making this project possible. I think this is a win-win for everybody. So I would appreciate your aye vote on this first public hearing item. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Great. Thank you, Supervisor Hana. I agree with what you just said and the importance of working collaboratively with the COG, with Metro, with all of us, our parks and recs, and the benefit actually that is going to be derived with funding for the Puente Hills Park. But aside from that, it is, I think, something that you, myself, and I know Catherine, you went back to DC. We were talking to our transportation representatives and our members of Congress to talk about the importance of getting relief in this section of 1657, which is, you're right, one of the most congested as well as truck travel areas of congestion. So we do need to move on this project. So I thank you for that. I'll be supporting you on this. Are there any other members that wish to be recognized on this item? Okay. Seeing none, then it would be appropriate to close the public hearing and to vote on this item. Item 1 is before us. It was moved by Supervisor Hahn, seconded by Supervisor Kuehl to approve the item. Madam Executive Officer, please call the roll.
Item 1 is before you. Supervisor Mitchell.
Aye.
Supervisor Mitchell, aye. Supervisor Kuehl.
Aye.
Supervisor Kuehl, aye. Supervisor Hahn.
Aye.
Supervisor Hahn, aye. Supervisor Barger.
Aye.
Supervisor Barger, aye. Supervisor Solis.
Aye.
Supervisor Solis, aye. Motion carries 5-0.
This is a hearing on appeal of project number 2021-002011 in the unincorporated community of Rowland Heights. Are there any members wishing to be recognized on this item? Supervisor Hahn.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I would just ask my colleagues to support our Regional Planning Department, Amy's recommendation that we deny this appeal. And just to let everybody know, this will not approve any development of any project. This will merely allow us to begin the study looking at updating the community plan. And, you know, again, before any development is approved, there will still be an EIR. There'll still be, you know, many more public hearings and opportunities for the public to weigh in. So Amy recommends that we approve her recommendation, deny this appeal, and move forward to look at updating the community plan. So that would be an aye vote. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. Seeing no other members wishing to be recognized on the item, it would be appropriate to close the public hearing and vote on the item. Item 4 is before us, moved by Supervisor Hahn, seconded by Supervisor Barger to approve the item. Madam Executive Officer, please call the roll.
Item 4 is before you to deny the appeal. Supervisor Mitchell.
Aye.
Supervisor Mitchell, aye. Supervisor Kuehl.
Aye.
Supervisor Kuehl, aye. Supervisor Hahn.
Aye.
Supervisor Hahn, aye. Supervisor Barger.
Aye.
Supervisor Barger, aye. Supervisor Solis.
Aye.
Supervisor Solis, aye. Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you. Members will now move on to item 11.
Okay, folks, this is Roy Humphreys, and we had a technical difficulty. I was not able to testify at the Rowland Heights golf course situation, so I'll just read it to you in the spirit of full disclosure. I apologize for the technical difficulty, but here is my statement. The human animal is a selfish animal, and those wanting to deny this project development illustrate that. Times have changed, and failure to respond to those changes has brought Senate Bills 9 and 10, which destroy community integrity. The NIMBY attitude is understandable but not acceptable. If they were really cared about the community, Rowland Heights would be a city of self-determination. The county is in dire need of the fees and taxes from this needed project to fund other infrastructure like widening of Fullerton Road, Colima to the 60, the desired third world storm drain, the Otterbein streets, decades of county neglect, and the one block of Nasica of 46 years of wear and tear. And last but not least, the persons who brought up the issue of the property owners and if they didn't respond by such and say and so forth. If this were a bar to further development, why didn't any of these professionals, the developers, the county commission and so forth, why did no one discover this? Very interesting question. Okay, thank you for your time and goodbye.